As a community, you can have your own bank. Because the things that only banks could do, because they needed tons and tons of people and systems and pieces of paper moving all around, all of that has been digitized into systems that can be installed on a computer and you run it yourselves. Then those guys are now able to say, hey man, we like your idea. We think we want to fund this idea, which is very different from going to a bank. We know that Stockfiles have always had an issue where there's the treasurer, and the treasurer is keeping the books, and those books.
And some monies. Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. I am super glad to be back talking financial education again. So a lot of stuff goes behind shooting those things, and sometimes we shoot 5 episodes and they never make it online, and this is one of them. I had to call a guest today back because we shot a fire episode and somewhere along the line battery switched off and we were having fun and the camera is not recording. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for having me again. But again, like you're saying, I think we were having fun, so nothing was lost.
Nothing was lost. How did it feel when I was saying, we have to reshoot? I always wonder what the experience is like on the other side. I don't
happy.
Is it?
I was happy. I was like, I know. Look, a second chance. Maybe I can get to refine the points and land a clearer message. So I wasn't disappointed at all.
You are a man that has introduced me to one word I never even thought existed: financial activism. Finance, I love. Activism, I associate it with anything but finance. So we're going to talk about that and how communities can empower themselves to understand how the system works and use the system to their advantage. So that's what we're about today. Mr. Sizwe, I think, first off, what do you want people to walk away with?
Yona financial activism. It is the very core concept that I'd like people to take away, that we need a change in behavior that is far more proactive towards finances as opposed to being a consumer of finances.
Okay.
So this is a different approach in the sense that there is a drive globally for financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is all well and great. It's a wonderful initiative, but it still falls shy of the mark for what we need if we are going to lift ourselves out of poverty and stop being called third world countries. We would need genuine activism.
What's your difference between the two, financial inclusion and financial activism? Because as from the ordinary man, I would think they're the same.
So inclusion is still something that others are doing, and you are still a consumer. So somebody is now creating instruments that are more inclusive, financial instruments that are inclusive, loans that are more beneficial to, the lower income groups, or access to finance for lower income groups. That's financial inclusivity.
Okay.
Financial activism is the idea that those people need to be the owners of those instruments. They must not be the consumers of those instruments. They must pool capital and activate that capital in the market as well. That's activism. They must not be the consumers of being downstream of other people's capital and getting loans. No, they must figure out ways to pool capital.
Come together, pool capital, build your own system.
Build your own system, manage your own capital, activate it. You're the one who's loaning money out to people in your community, as opposed to always having some third party that's external giving you financial instruments.
Let's tell the people who you are so they kind of get context. What do you do and who is Mr. Sizwe?
Right. So I am the Chief Technology Officer at Mpilo.Africa. Mpilo Technologies, actually, but the website is Mpilo.Africa. Please come and have a look at us. And our claim to fame at Mpilo is digital banking. We implement digital banking interfaces for banks, fundamentally, and we help them do things like branchless banking, where instead of you having to go into a branch to open a new account, you can actually just download an app and open a new account within minutes. And it's the evolution of where banking is going.
Also, you guys help banks create these systems where
These
they could
digital
be
interfaces.
paperless, where they
Yes.
don't need too many branches, which means not too many employees as well.
Look, and this is
It's an inevitable consequence
it's
of
an
technology
inevitable-
anyway. That's what
and-
AI is doing, right?
I'm also thinking we shouldn't think about it as less jobs, but as different types of jobs. Whereas the jobs were now being tellers, now you can do more back office stuff. You can do more work around tweaking and designing the actual product that is being sold. So, it's only the less intellectual work that is now being taken over by these systems.
All right, so I was asking you what holds people back. And one of the things you were talking about was if you don't have assets, the system will overlook you.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Again, we're going back to the idea of financial activism, where when you are an active finance-minded person, you realize that this is the game that we're all after. We need to gain assets, and you can do that at an individual level, and you can do it at a community level. You can even do it at a family level. That's what a family trust is all about. And
So the activism is in us actively having conversations and plans and strategies for doing well financially.
yes, and actually then understanding the technology that is available to us in order for us to actually do that. There's not only the advancements in the internet mean that the things that only banks could do can now be done by you on your computer.
Like what?
Like host your ledger of these are my monies, these are my assets, and all of that type of stuff. As a
Okay.
community, you can have your own bank, because the things that only banks could do, because they needed tons and tons of people and systems and pieces of paper moving all around, all of that has been digitized into systems that can be installed on a computer and you run it yourselves. So a community that is focused enough can start its own bank and report directly to the South African Reserve Bank. And that's what we're after. I'm hoping that the conversation that we're having will lead us to how do we get to communities that have their own banks?
Okay. Maybe I could take the question there. But before we go there, I'm curious though, who does this apply to? Because I know that a lot of people that will watch the episode, some are in full-time employment, some are entrepreneurs, but small businesses. There will be some that have got established business. I want someone watching to see, where do I fall in this conversation? Because once we talk about the bank, owning a bank, a lot of people will exclude themselves. So where do I place myself when I'm listening to the conversation?
No, you're. I like both entrepreneurs and I like 9-to-5ers. I think we need
So
a combination.
everyone
all
qualifies.
of them qualifies.
Let's
But
explain.
it's always about you making a conscious choice that you are walking this journey. As an entrepreneur, you would understand, for instance, that you are always looking for capital, either maybe to start a business or to grow your business. Where are you going to get that capital? The answer for that is financial activism. When you are part of a community that has raised capital in one way or another, maybe the 9-to-5ers are busy putting away
Like
I'm a
Stokvels.
500 and all of that type of stuff, then those guys are now able to say, hey man, we like your idea. We think we want to fund this idea, which is very different from going to a bank and getting
Is
a
it like
loan.
crowdsourcing?
It is similar to crowdsourcing, but it's a lot more community centric, and it's a lot more sort of structured. It's got ways for you to service a debt as well, so it's not a matter of they just give you money and then it's funding in the classical sense, but it's your community saying, here, you wanted to expand your operation by doing X, Y, and Z, here's 300,000 which you will pay back in this structured format over X amount of time.
All right, so let me try and think of communities, and I'll start small. Let's say there's a group of a Stockville.
Yes.
Group of people that have come together and say every month we donate 500 rands, or contribute, not donate. We contribute 500 rands to the Stockville. We've got this pot that's growing. When you are coming into the conversation, what can you do for them?
First of all, we can run a ledger. It's the simplest thing. Basically, we know that Stockfiles have always had an issue where there's the treasurer, and the treasurer is keeping the books, and those books,
and some monies,
they
hide somewhere.
There's always that danger. But in a digital system, that's much harder to do, right? Because digital records are on a server and protected. So every time you do a deposit from your bank account into this stock file, there's a record that's created, and the number that is there is complete, as in it's recorded. And
this is outside of a bank.
Yes, you can go to, there's actually existing apps right now that run stock files for you.
Okay.
There's existing apps. They do the exact same functionality. So in our one, we are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to provide you a platform where every time you deposit money, it's going to appear in your ledger. You, as the group of people, will all have access to that ledger. You will be able to see, which is Fisufage 500 on such and such a date. Usbanu fage 500. Hey,
this person is owing us. This one has been.
But now it's a digital ledger. It's not, and then also. What that does is that it creates a lot of trust and transparency in these systems.
If basically we're now running as a bank and depositing money and governing ourselves, what are some of the risks that we get exposed to? Because I start thinking, who is going to manage and hold us accountable, especially when it gets to the lending side, giving out loans, because it's good, and I like the principle of communities coming together, taking control of our destiny, creating this resource that can finance growth and good ideas. I also think of the other side, because working with entrepreneurs, I know some genuinely from a good place take loans and the business ideas don't work, so they don't pay back the money, not because they are bad people, but they bet on a wrong business. But some are they just want to abuse any system. Look, those are the kind of risks that start to pop up.
Definitely. And part of financial activism is a journey where you learn how to take risk. There is no business without risk.
True.
So if you are thinking, Guti, you are going to take this financial activism journey and it's always going to be win, 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 win. I've got another news coming for you. You've got to learn to take losses with the wins, and then you've got to learn how to balance that risk. You're not going to now take all of your money and put it in that one entrepreneur, right? That's possibly a very expensive lesson that some learn, but I'm hoping nobody has to learn that lesson. I'm hoping everybody realizes, okay, you create some exposure to that project over there, to that more secure thing, something like a home loan. You're helping somebody who's got a 9-to-5 to pay off their home loan. That is a little less risky, but over here there's this guy with a great idea. And maybe we can throw 25,000 in that direction and see what comes out of there. But if nothing comes out, so that's the kind of activism that activates a new part of our minds. A lot of people aren't thinking like that.
We want to build our community and we want to own our resources,
and we need to take risks on each other. We have to try things, and some of them are going to fail. And maybe we're going to get a lesson out of that, to go to, oh, okay, the reason this failed was because the idea was like that. And maybe the next time we'll do better. But you would never learn that unless you tried and failed.
How does it compare to, because I'm thinking as a Stokvel or as a community, now you're here, you've put the system and we can self-govern our money, we can manage our money like a bank and operate like a bank. But someone will be saying the alternative is just using a bank that's already there and established. Then we don't need the headache of managing the money. We know it's in a system that's been there for 100 years. How do I account for the shift to say ignore those guys that have been there for the 100 years and bet on a new system, even though I'm involved in it? Bet on this new system, but it's new. And you know, we get scared when something is new.
And you should be, but the truth of the matter is it's a journey that we have to walk if we want to rise out of poverty. When we give our money to banks, for instance, that is a bunch of people who then get all of this money, and then they decide how that money is deployed into the markets. They decide what to invest in. So they're making a whole bunch of decisions on your behalf. So you're giving them a lot of power. When you give your money to these banks, you're giving them the power. But if you are managing these monies yourself, the power is yours to decide, hey man, we want a strip mall over there. You know, because we want that in our community. It's going to take our things forward. Now you don't have to wait for somebody else to make that decision. You know, because the developer who's going to build that strip mall goes and applies at some bank over there, and that bank over there still needs to decide, and maybe they've got other projects that they've prioritized. So now you as a community are deprioritized. But if you are managing your own money, the decision power for how that money gets spent is yours. And that's exactly where the difference is. The difference is you are taking back your power that your money has, your saved money has.
Does it save you financially, or there's no cost savings? I mean, if I go the bank system and use the established systems, there are fees and charges and stuff.
There's fees and charges.
But when I move to this system that you propose, where you come and set us up as a bank.
Yes, there's also fees and charges. They are more towards running the systems. You become your own back office, so you're going to have to do work, right? Otherwise, if you want to pay some people to do that, then there's those salaries, and then obviously then there's overhead that comes out of that. It's obviously a journey that you're walking, like we're saying.
There are costs either way.
There's costs either way. You can't run these things for free.
How do you account for the risk of, if we're running as a bank, there is skills that we're going to need to do this well? Because sometimes, you know, the right thing being done by people who don't know what they're doing will buzz emotion. They'll destroy it.
The skills that are needed are going to come around from the fact that we are doing the things. If we are always now asking a third party to do these things, those skills won't be internalized. They'll never come to us. And we'll continue to be these communities that are, sort of financially not savvy. We are always downstream consumers of financial products. And the only way we'll get to that point is if we start taking this risk of, okay, for the first few maybe years, we won't be great at it. But at least we're on the journey. That's the important thing.
That's nice. That applies to business, I guess, because anyone who starts a business for the first time is not good at it. They get good at it along the way. How do you see this ending poverty? Especially when you look at the broader continent. If there is a massive adoption to this approach and way of thinking.
When there is a massive... we will succeed on this one.
When there is...
When there is...
when the adoption increases.
Yes.
How do you see it ending? What do you see changing?
what we have is not poor individuals, we have poor communities. This is the problem that we are actually solving for. And this is a framework for communal wealth management. Communities need to start acting in different ways that have them managing their communal assets, whether those assets be their infrastructure, the marketplace that they are running, all of that is the kind of thinking that wealthy communities have. When people are in the Hamptons in the US are talking there over dinner tables, they're having a communal conversations about wealth management quite often. But in poor communities, that's not happening. That's what's got to change. It's got to change such that the communities, when they get together, that's what they're talking about, how they are managing their collective assets. And then you will get wealthier and wealthier communities. And what that means is that there's less and less poor people because they don't come from poor communities.
Okay, I see that. Do you have a way of educating these communities that adopt the systems?
There is, but I think the proof is in the doing.
Yeah.
Like, let's do these things. Let's start at Stockfells. Stockfells can be from 12 people upwards. And then you grow as a Stockfell, you attract more members, you're managing more larger amounts of money, managing more assets maybe. Then you grow into a CFI. You get to the point where you're big enough to apply to become a cooperative financial institution that is managed by the Prudential Authority of South Africa. Now you've got...
Is that how all of you guys at Bilo talk? Big goals.
No, we have to. We have to. I mean, I don't understand.
I was with Denzel Phillips. We did an episode with him somewhere on the podcast.
Yes.
Talks
yes.
like you.
No, he's one of the great inspirations. There's a man who's always optimistic about our future as a people and is always urging us on to dream big and have that big, hairy, audacious goal. Right?
Exactly how he framed it as well. All right, so let's talk to promoting the system and what you guys want to do. Because I want to challenge you. I want to invite you in a couple of months and you come and say, here's a community that came through. This is the bank they've created for themselves. Not sure what kind of timeline we can talk to, maybe in a year. In a year, that's what you're working with, right?
I like that. Let's circle back in a year, and I want to tell you that we have platformed 100 Stockfells, 10 CFIs, and 5 mutual banks. That's what I would like to say, because half of the problem that we have is that we've got this humongous economy, but we don't have those types of structures support as part of the economy. All of the wealth is concentrated in these few hands, and that's a lot of where the issues are coming from in terms of poverty.
So a lot of communities do have the potential to come together and pool their resources and create these banks. I think it would be a nice thing for you to come and show us one or two, but you said 100, so...
Stockfells? I think even Stockfells, I want thousands. I want like every street in Soweto must have its own Stockfell of, it's got to be part of our basic culture. If you're not part of a Stockfell, we should shame you. Shame.
All right. Do you guys have a vision of doing this outside of South Africa? So can
Definitely.
A community that listens, because I was reading a comment from Ghana actually, and another one yesterday from Trinidad and Tobago, which was such a shocking thing that this YouTube flies everywhere. But if someone in Ghana, if someone in Nigeria, Angola, wherever they are, say, I like what you're saying, we've got a community, we need you to come set us up.
Yes, definitely. Truly speaking, a lot of the interest that we've gotten so far has come from abroad. We've spoken to people out in Botswana, some people out in Namibia, and the interest there is amazing. So we've just got to figure out their exact needs, their prudential authority requirements that we need to align to. It's always a journey around those third-party integrations with their existing regulatory bodies. But other than that, yes, the answer is the problem that we're solving is a generic one. How do communities manage their own finances?
Wonderful. I think that is good for me. I thank you for coming. I knew you were going to come with. Can you define activism?
It starts by going to omvia.africa. omvia.africa.
We'll put the link.
Yes, and actually signing up and saying, Guti, I'm interested in this, because we're also looking for impact funding.
Am I coming as an individual, or we come in as a group?
You can come in as an individual to begin with. We're looking for impact funding. So the more interest that we can show that we have, that people want this kind of thing, the more we can actually get the kind of impact funding that can accelerate the rate at which we're delivering on this functionality. We've got the basic functionality, we've got the ledger, we've got the back office, we've got the app that is user-facing. But there's so much functionality that we can add. We can integrate with all these third-party systems for payments, that we can do P2P payments so much more easily.
So you can set up mobile money and all of these things.
All of these things. But now we've got to actively choose platforms that help us do these things. We can't keep being downstream and seeing, hey man, the banks only offer this. No. We've got to say, we want this, and we're going to make it happen, because we're going to all jump on this platform, and this platform, we're going to make sure it has this functionality. That's the activism that we're after. That where we know we can actually make changes that suit us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for this. I think I will be looking forward to the 1 year. Are there businesses that you're already helping, or communities that you're already helping get set up?
Yes.
So I guess we're already on our way to
We're
those
already
success
on the
stories.
journey. This is a train that's moving, people.
Let us know what questions you have for him, so that by the time they come back and they show us the communities that they've helped set up, we are ready.
Thank you so much.
I wish you all the best. I just enjoy talking to big thinkers, and you guys are somewhere at your level by yourselves. Whatever juice you're drinking, please
share it.
Share.
We will definitely do.
See you in the next episode. Thank you.